the primary concern among players is that the value isn't there anymore. For example, they're putting in a lot of technology that tends to be more economical for the casino. For example, those ticket in, ticket out things that you see at the slot machines. Are you familiar with those?
Absolutely, yes.
So you put those tickets in and you take them out, and then you can move from slot machine to slot machine, and it expedites the payout process for the player. As before, where you would have to call an attendant or just press the button or wait in line. But what we mean by value is that, say you would play $100, you would play $100, and maybe that would last you be in a casino for an hour and a half. Now with the expedited technology, along with some other things, you're actually being in the casino for only about 40 minutes. So you're losing about a third of your value. So people are spending the same amount of money, but for less entertainment.
Now, let me play devil's advocate here for a second. You talked about the average length of time that a slot machine player might stay, an hour and a half. With the expedited thing now, it's 45 minutes. Is that not a good thing for the player? I mean, a lot of people worry about responsible gambling and that sort of thing. So if they're in the casino shorter amounts of time, isn't that a good thing? I mean, for the player, it might be.
Well, I think for you and I both know that gamblers are not exactly the most rational creatures. So I said that's one aspect of this technology. And some people, I could see that argument that it would be beneficial. But another complex aspect of that is before, the traditional slot machine prior to 2000 was a traditional 3-coin slot machine, 3-wheel, the 777. I'm
Right.
sure you're familiar with those, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that average wager was about 75 cents per player. And they would spin that and, play their time there. And currently in the post-2000 world, where there was just so much money available after the dot-com boom and the subsequent real estate bubbles that we experienced in the year 2000s, that these gaming companies were looking for ways to drive already great revenues. And when I hear this, I think of Gordon Gekko's Wall Street movie, the phrase, greed is good. So they had good revenues, but they wanted more and more and more. So what they did was they went from the traditional 3-coin slot machines to a nickel slot machine, which is 5 cents times 18 lines, those multi-credit, multi-line games. Are you familiar with those, Derek?
Yeah, they're too confusing for me, but yeah, I see them all the time.
So you play, you think you're at a nickel machine, but really you're going from a 75-cent wager to a 5x18, which is a 90% wager. And traditional aspects in casino gaming was when you go from a higher denomination to a lower denomination, in order to compensate for that, the casino's hold percentage goes up. So if you run the math on this, just taking an average player, 2 hours a shot times, 2 times a week with, 1,200 spins per session, I think the net loss is like $720 for the 3-coin, and then for the 18x5, it's like a 930. So it's approximately a 20% decrease in value to the player, and by that I mean they're losing more money for the same amount of time. When that happens, players just get disgusted, and those losses over time, combined with the lower comp rate, is just too much for the players to handle. Now, the argument that the casinos make is they're making more money for that initial bump. So for every multi-line, multi-credit machine that these casinos have on the floor, in the first 3 months or so, they'll see an initial bump because the players are spending more money there. But when the losses accumulate time and time again, those rates rapidly fall to their original, and then sometimes, more often than not, they go below their original baseline. So they're actually losing money in the end.